That was so good.
Jeremy, how are you?
Good morning. I'm tired.
Hi, Greg.
Afternoon, evening.
How are you?
Now, there you go.
Uh-oh.
If you'd have been here 5 minutes earlier, you'd have heard why.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Well, I've already told everybody else, so,
Tell me.
and we're going live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Courtney. How are you tonight?
Well, how are you?
Doing well, thanks.
I brought us candy.
Oh, good. I brought my pen.
Just us five.
How's spring break, Jeremy? Kids?
Yes, sir.
Go anything? Go anywhere?
I worked. They did
Knowing Jeremy,
chores.
somebody was sick.
No, not this time. Not for once. Oh, wait,
Yes.
the whole week beforehand.
Oh,
She was better. By the time spring break started, but her spring break was 2 full weeks.
Nice. 6 o'clock. Call this meeting to order. Welcome to the special Board of Education meeting for tonight for the BOE work session on open enrollment.
okay.
Presenting here.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Hirsch.
So tonight, what we are going to do is bring the board up to date and outline our process for moving forward with open enrollment. I'm going to go through a lot of information with you tonight. You do have a paper copy so that you can follow along. I will tell you that the data that we are providing is a moving target, and tomorrow it can change. So that meaning there's a staffing component to it that day to day can change. So let's start by talking a little bit about dates, because we do have board members who were not here as part of this. I want to go back and share that during the 22-23 legislative session, the Kansas legislature passed a bill that requires all Kansas districts to have open enrollment. Open enrollment meaning students outside of your district have an opportunity to enroll in your district if there are, quote, open seats available. And there's a lot of factors, and the laws change even in the last year. And honestly, there's some pieces right now that are moving that may change before we roll this out. So I will tell you, we're trying to stay on top of it, but it is a moving target. So let's start with our dates. First of all, in January of 2024, all boards of education across Kansas had to have a policy in place that was adopted by their board outlining open enrollment policies. So your board, all of you, as a board, approved that in December of 23. It went into effect January 1st of 2024. So you are in compliance. Hi, Tasha. You are in compliance with the current law in regards to your policy. Next is by May 1st of 2024, every district in Kansas must publish on their website by grade level, by building, how many seats they're going to have in each building. That's what we're going to work on tonight. Then on June 1st, we have to publish to our website, this is how many seats that we have available. From June 1st through June 30th, the district will accept out-of-district applications. And I will tell you that we are still working through this process, as we'll cover here in just a few minutes, but we are still working through what does that look like for an out-of-district family. Next, after June 30th, on July 1st through July 15th, the district has to conduct a random lottery to identify students who would then be eligible if there are openings. The law only states you have to notify those who did not get accepted between those dates. So we'll obviously notify those who got in, but we have to notify the individual and the reason they did not get accepted. Now, there is legislation right now being considered that the next year, if they get denied, they have an appeal process before you as a board. If they don't get in, they can come to the board meeting and say, why didn't you let me in? And you as a board have to hear that appeal, even though they do not live in your district and do not vote for you as school board candidates. Again, a lot of things that, in my opinion, that get on a soapbox should be local decisions are being made by those at the state level. This district did have an open enrollment policy. We take annually about 400 to 500 kids through open enrollment. So this process for us really has been more cumbersome because we had a really good process that worked. This was going to be a shot in the dark, to be very honest with you, as we work through this first year. So those are your dates. Next, let's talk about some stuff that's going on right now. First of all, I want to talk about our 23-24 unaudited student count. Every year, KSDE comes in and audits our enrollment, our September 20 enrollment. That then is how they base your funding. We to this date have not gotten our audit results, correct? You typically get them June is when you get them. Remember, that's the end of your budget year. So you budgeted all year based on this, and then in June you get audited sometime during the year, and then they tell you in June what you have. So right now in the legislature, there is legislation being proposed that is very concerning and very alarming to me right now. It should be to you as a board. The way school funding is done currently in Kansas is you get to take the higher enrollment of the current year or the previous 2 years. Okay. So for us, if you go this year and the previous 2 years, last year was our highest enrollment for the last 3 or 4 years. Okay. The legislation right now is looking at going to the current year and 1 year look back, which I understand why. I get it. I have no issues if that's the direction you want to go. But right now, the thing that concerns me is that they implement this next year and we don't grow. We lost 234 students. Which when you put a dollar figure to that, to general fund and supplemental general fund, is to the tune of about $2.7 million. So there is talk and there is a bill that's introduced that would make next year a grace, give you a year of grace. So you would get by next year whether under the current or an average of the last two, the highest of the 2 years. And then the following year is when it would kick in. So right now, there is some life in that we may get to use the average of the 2 highest years. So that's the current legislation that's being considered. And they're actually, I forwarded you that email this week, and they're actually debating that today in the Senate and the House. I did hear back from a couple of our legislators, and I will reach out and talk to them about how this impacts us. So for us, this is a factor. If you're a growing district, this isn't a factor. But when you lose 5% of your students, this is significant. So when you look at this, last year we lost approximately unaudited 235 kids. Now that's unweighted. So what that means is every student has potential to get weighting, which is additional money for special ed, at risk. There's all kinds of factors. So to actually figure the number of the students and how it impacts your budget, you take that 2.35 times 1.5. So for us, it's about 350 students, 356, isn't that right? Mm-hmm. Something like that. Then you take that times a base state aid, which next year, the talk in the legislature has not been finalized yet, is 5381. That's how you get to the figure that I explained to you. Okay. So these are factors for us with a declining enrollment last year that are of concern. Okay. So as we look at open enrollment, we've been working through this process for the last 4 to 5 months. Our principals have been involved in it. We as district leadership have been involved in it. I've shared information with you as a board. So here are some things that we looked at as we built what we're going to share with you tonight. First of all, what is our current enrollment? And what is our process and timeline for enrolling our current students? Remember, all of this is based on open seats that apply in June. Our enrollment isn't typically till the second week of July. So we're looking at a pre-enrollment process. We had a meeting before spring break. And we're looking at doing a pre-enrollment, so we will have an understanding of who's coming back. And we're looking at doing that either April, May, we can go into early June. But the problem is most families aren't thinking about it at that point. And things happen. So we are considering doing a pre-enrollment. It wouldn't be a pay now or anything like that. It would just simply be Courtney would go in and say, my boys are coming back or not coming back. And here's the grade level they'll be in. So that helps us understand what percentage of our kids are coming back. Because that's huge. One factor that I will share with you is traditionally in Haysville, we lose 10% of our kids through mobility. And we get a new 10%. So 5,500 students, you're going to lose 520, 550 of them. And you're going to get a new 500, give or take 50 kids. That's, typically due to moving in and out. Maybe I live with grandma this year. Next year, I'm going to go live with mom. There's just a lot of different factors, rent hopping, all kinds of things that unfortunately impact kids and impact their ability to attend school. So traditionally, we lose about 10% of our kids, just so you're aware. Next, we need to understand what is the capacity of each building. And we're not talking about the capacity that the fire marshal sets, because that's going to be higher than what we can accommodate, right? So that's where the principals come in. So we're taking a look at our current enrollment numbers, our projected enrollment numbers, and on our projected enrollment numbers, you can pick a number and use it. I don't know what the number is. I'm going to be honest with you. But we're going to bank on a 98% retention rate. So if we have 100 kids, we're guessing 98 of them are coming back next year. So I don't think that 10% is something that's going to be awful high. And kids coming and going. So we're assuming a 98% retention rate, which also allows us to make sure we have planned for growth within our own district, which is just as important as what we're looking at. Next, potential residential growth. Right now, I had a meeting with the mayor and development of the city development, and we're looking across our district at approximately 1,200 units going in. So those of you that were on the board know this, those that weren't. We did a demographic study last year that was completed. And nationally, the birth rate has dropped from 0.6 per house to 0.4. So you'll see some numbers here in a minute, and you'll see it in our numbers. People are having fewer babies. That's the reality of our world. If you remember back when the Royals won the World Series, there was a spike. So we're hoping that the Royals win the World Series again. Or the Chiefs continue to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right?
Goodness.
But right now there are approximately 1,200 units. However, the only ones that I know that are going in currently and are either digging dirt or have erected some kind of facility is the one on Grand. And that's about 100 and some units.
What about the ones out by Oakville? They're
They-
building houses there.
They were adding some to the southern portion of that, the northern portion that they were scheduled. Don't quote me, but it's about 125 houses they were rezoning, and then they put an infrastructure in.
Mhm.
I have not seen any on the north end. I've seen them on the south end.
Yeah,
That was of the current development.
right.
But we
That
already
new-
counted those in.
Yeah, the new development, the one that's got a Colt head on the sign out front.
Yes.
Is that-
Mhm.
Okay.
So I had a meeting with Lang Realty on Friday. They've been really good about providing us information about our district, not just Haysville, but our district. And they told me they're breaking ground, hopefully what they thought within the next 6 months on the mobile home park that's going at 55th and Meridian. 235-ish units there. Over here, the average price of these duplexes coming in are $320,000, which I'm concerned a little bit about affordability in our district. Sure, yeah, that's what they should be. So also out by your place, there's 100 units supposed to go in south of you, but I know we talked and they're kind of in a freezing. trying to
Right.
Figure
So
out.
they can figure out
entrances.
exit routes.
Yeah. There's some units Debbie was telling me, and I learned from the city over right off the turnpike. I think there's 16 units over there that are 32 duplexes, basically. Be 16 duplexes, 32 units. But anyway, the number that we can arrive at roughly is about 1,200 units. So if you look at 1,200 units, you should get of that about 450 to 500 kids based on birth rates. So multifamily is 1.09, if I remember right. Single family is 0.48 for us, 0.47. We're a little bit higher than the national norm there, but multifamily is 1.01, 1.1. So this number that I'm going to share with you tonight factors in growth internally for us. Projected enrollment program capacity at the secondary level. The state says you need to look at your program capacity. So remember, Haysville High School is its own high school, but it is a program that campus students can go into. IB is a program, CTE is a program. We have special education programs that are programs. So at the secondary level, you can look at those numbers as well to help you arrive at where you want to be. And then also I want to share with you that anybody that is currently in our district through an out of district enrollment, okay, they came in and every year they do the LOE. This year, if they are not asked not to come back because of a reason that the board gives them a reason not to come back for, attendance, discipline, whatever the case might be, they are grandfathered in and automatically fall into next year. So they don't have to go through the lottery, which I think is good for our families that are doing that. However, if let's say that Jeff isn't coming to school every day and I'm an out of district student, if Nikki sends me a letter saying you're at 70% attendance, that doesn't meet our expectation. Next year, you're not eligible to come, then that student would be eligible to come back unless they apply through the lottery. And then we would there's some talk right now about changes in when you can look at disciplinary attendance and all that kind of stuff. So that's still a little gray. But just so you're aware, the 450 kids this year that we have that are out of district, all will be able to stay next year. So I think that's positive because under the original bill, they would have had to reapply. And I think that would have been a storm for your legislature.
But if they're not welcome back, they may still come back regardless on if they are welcome back. If they're in the lottery.
If they're in the lottery and they win
But
it.
we have to approve them to be in the lottery.
But they can enter the lottery, but if they enter it, the way that the legislature right now is talking about a discipline process that allows you to do current year. Under the original bill, you had to take Jeff for a year. If Jeff got in trouble, maybe Jeff had terrible attendance, in Wichita, we take him. Jeff comes to us. We couldn't not take Jeff because he had poor attendance. We had to take him.
Right.
There's new legislation that's being talked about that allows the home district to use the current year's information to be able to determine if you take that student or not. Now, if the student's been expelled in another district, you don't have to take them.
But if we had Jeff this year and Jeff was 70%, we said, no, thank you, Jeff, next year.
You're done. You don't get to come back. You could apply through the lottery system. But as I understand the law, if your name gets drawn through the lottery, we can deny you because
Okay.
attendance
Okay.
was not at the mark 90%. Okay, so one of the things I've talked to you a little bit about is classroom teacher reductions. And I want to share some numbers because this is going to be relevant in choosing how we take students. So our class sizes, I'm going to be very honest with you, are phenomenal district-wide. Your number as a board is 23 for K3, 27 for 4th and 5th grade in an average class. Once it gets to that point, then the district has traditionally, the board wants to know, and they've tried to come up with a solution, whether that's a para. It's hard to hire a teacher at that point and break your class up. A lot of times it was a para. So
What were those numbers again, please?
23 for 1st through 3rd. Kindergarten, 23 is not a doable number. So 4th and 5th grade is 27. Get it right, Jen?
Yes.
In kindergarten, we're looking at kindergarten at a number about 16 because you can't have 23 kindergartners. Right. Just doesn't work. So, and you as a board shouldn't want that. So, Here are staff positions that we're currently not filling due to attrition. Please note, we have not non-renewed anybody or say you're not coming back because these are all positions that we're not going to fill at the time, right? We have 2 kindergarten positions. This is district-wide. 3 first grade positions, 2 second grade, 1 third grade, 1 fourth grade, and 4 fifth grade, for a total of 13 positions district-wide that we are not going to fill. Okay. Secondary, let's talk about secondary. Secondary is so difficult to do anything with in regards to class sizes because of all the different tentacles. We've spent a lot of time with our secondary principals trying to figure out how to come up with a number, and it's just very difficult. Also, if I lose a math teacher at campus, you got to have a math teacher to replace it. I can't, there's not enough sections. They can't, those kids can't take math. So it's a little different at secondary level. Right now, we have not filled any secondary position yet. And don't plan to not fill any. But part of that is it's just so difficult to come up with an actual number that you can see the impact on class sizes. The other piece of it is class sizes at the high school can be a little higher. You expect a high school class. We don't want 30 in the classroom, but it's 25 to 30 is not uncommon in a high school classroom across the state of Kansas in larger districts. I think a good number is 25 to 27 is a good number for a high school class. Now, obviously, if you have some remedial classes, you want those lower. But that's one factor. So what I want to share with you is some data that will, if this is a lot of stuff, but we're looking at this section right here, over to the far right. This is the number of recommended seats by grade level that we're going to talk about tonight. So we would take 0 kindergartners. Here's why we're taking 0 kindergartners. We have no idea how many are going to show up. Traditionally, we've been between 3 and 325. Remember, we want to keep class sizes around 16. All right, 15, 16. So we're not taking any kindergartners. We're going to leave spots for 10 people to move in with kindergartners, but we don't anticipate taking any out of district kids. So if we were to fill all those openings I just showed you, if you looked at the last 2 columns, your class size is over on the far right. That's your average class size. If we take 234 new students and fill every position. So you'll see the average is 14 in kindergarten, 17 in first grade, 17 in second, 18 in third, 19 in fourth, 20, 1 in fifth. Those are phenomenal class sizes, I'm telling you right now. That's what you would see if we filled those positions. Let's look at if we don't fill those positions. Take a look at the far right now. 14 again is common number, 20 in first grade, 21 in second, 21 in third, 22 in fourth, 24 in fifth. So what does this mean? To get to 27, you would have to get 3 times 17, which is 51. You'd have to get 51 fifth graders in district that move in to get that number to 27. That's not going to happen. You're not going to get 57 first fifth graders to come in. You're not going to get over here. It would be 3 times 17 again. What's that? 51 to get that to 23. See where we're going with this? Okay. So what I want to show you is by not filling those positions, these class sizes are still pretty darn good. They're not perfect, but they're good. And they're still below what your number is as a board. Not even close, really, when you look at how many kids you're going to have. Okay, so here is side by side so you can see it easier. It's the same data, just side by side, so it's easier to compare them. Left one is if we fill those positions, the right one's if we don't. Are the ones on the left desirable? Absolutely, they're desirable. Those are great numbers. You know, in my opinion, is it fiscally responsible? That's where I question. I don't think it is. So you look at that, and that's where we are. All right, let's take a look at how we came about the numbers I'm going to present to you. This is just one example. So what we did was we had our principals, not me, not BJ, but our principals come in and plug in what they thought their estimated facility capacity was by grade level. So this is your principal's number. So at Rex, She believes she can have 72 kindergartners, 80 first graders, 60 second, 70, and so forth, okay? This is your class size goal. This is the current enrollment. The third column is, the fourth column is your current enrollment. So you have 53 kindergartners. Divide that out by 4, and that tells you what those class sizes are. Pretty darn good right now. Next column is your projected enrollment for next year. That's with a 98% retention rate. Okay, so how do you come up with 50? Take 53 kindergartners, they're going to first grade at 98%, 52 is what we're projecting, of 98% stay. Follow me? Okay, so we've done that all the way down. This is the number of teachers they're projected to have next year. This would be their estimated class size here. Then this is how many open seats per teacher we guess. So for instance, first grade, we think we can have 3 open seats per teacher. So you take 3 open seats, and you work your way down. So you have 2 here, 2 here, and that's how many seats you have that would be an open for that building, based on what we consider to be an appropriate number. Questions about how we arrived at our number yet. So this number here is what we based everything on, is what our principal said capacity was. And they're going to be, I told them, what can you do reasonably? You know, how can you get there? So middle school is completely different. If you'll look at, this is HWs. So this year they have 181 sixth graders. Next year we're projecting 142. That's a significant drop. And their class sizes right now are really good. 18, 19 kids, I think is what Nikki told me. So what we're saying is we can take 40 kids in sixth grade, which would put us at 182 kids, which is the same size basically as this year. I want you to think about this. We're not going to get, in my opinion, 46 graders that are going to apply out of district our first year. I think it's going to take a few years before people catch on and realize this is something you can do. We can take 40 comfortably and not impact our class sizes that we see today. We can take 17 seventh graders and 2 eighth graders is what we project. One thing I want you to think about is this as a board. Typically, when you bring in an eighth grader, a junior or a senior, there's an issue. That's the reality. So we have intentionally limited those numbers at those grade levels for that reason. Sixth grade, new, fresh start for a lot of them. Don't want to go to a middle school, maybe in a surrounding district that's larger or whatever the case might be. So at the high school, these are some programs that we talked about. Parent Tech Ed enrollment, IB enrollment, and HHS enrollment. Remember, at HHS, we transfer kids all year long back and forth between there and campus. We have to have some flexibility there. So we have intentionally kept that number low. It's set, and I think we set it at 120, and they're around 135 to 150 typically. So what does that tell you? We're not going to take any students directly into Haysville High School. They're going to have to start at campus and then get transferred in, just like any of our kids. Okay. So at campus, here's what we're looking at. Shane put this number together. He thinks they can hold 460 in ninth grade, class-wise, facility-wise. Their current enrollment's 485. Next year, their projected enrollment 400. That's this year's eighth graders going to all the eighth graders combined. So we're looking at 60 open seats for freshmen at campus. No sophomores, no juniors, no seniors. So if you look over time, you're going to build that high school up over time to where when you look at, I think Shane and that crew told me they average about 350 graduates a year ballpark. So if you start at 460, you're going to get, hopefully that's going to increase, but again, you look at a 90% graduation rate of 460. Kind of get you where that would be as a senior class. Hopefully we get that improved. So basically at campus, I would recommend we would take no more than 60 freshmen. Okay? Haysville High School, put this up here again intentionally. It is a program for kids that struggle in a traditional setting. And we've got a really good thing going over there. With great leadership, great kids. We are limiting that to 120 students. And again, Jen, what are we typically? 135. Right now we're around 134, 35, up to 150 is about capacity. So we're saying we're not taking any Haysville High School directly. If you go to campus and you don't fit in a traditional setting, you can put in to transfer to Haysville High. But again, we're looking at capacities and kids moving back and forth. So what are we recommending tonight? This is a breakdown of by grade level and a total number of seats. So what I'm recommending tonight is we take 0 kindergartners, 15 first graders, 9 second, 19 third, 24 fourth, 39 fifth, for a total of 106 at our elementary schools. Now, if somebody already is at that mark at the elementary school, guess what? We're not putting kids there. I'll talk about how we place them here in just a minute. At our middle school, we're looking at taking 73 kids between the two. At our high school, we're looking at 57 is the number when you look at some internal growth. So we are recommending 236 kids come in next year. What did I tell you we lost last year? 235.
It's above and beyond than the kids that are already out of district today that we think would come back next year.
Yes.
So this is above what we think we would invite back next year. Okay.
So basically, when you look at this, we would be flat compared to last year's enrollment, but we're still down 235 kids this year. This gets 235 kids back in seats if they all fill, but doesn't push our class sizes to a large capacity. We don't know. We've talked about it. I've talked to others. Nobody knows how this is going to impact the school. I don't know. If I said and told you I know this, I'd be lying to you because I don't know. Sure.
You should take into account us possibly losing.
Yes, that's the other piece that.
What'd you say, Jeremy?
The potential of losing our students to another district.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing I don't think a lot of districts are thinking about, and you are going to lose kids. We're going to have some kids that maybe want to go to a smaller district, maybe want to go to a Clearwater or Mulvane size district. You're going to have some that may want to go to Derby and play football. You're going to have some that may want to go to Wichita because of a program that they offer. So you are going to have some kids leave. I would love to see us get 236 kids. I'd be happy with 150. To be very honest with you, because I just don't think that you're going to see the kind of growth that we planned for the first year. The other piece to remind you of is next year, you will do this again. You will set capacities again. So if we miss this year, and let's say our numbers, we get a lot of internal students and we end up filling here and our class sizes are larger, we have to hire some more teachers. Next year, we may not take anybody. But that's an annual decision that you as a board will make and that we will present to you so that you can make that final decision. So one thing I wanted to show you, and for some reason it didn't pop up. Let me pull it up here real quick. I want to share how detailed our principals went. Here we go. For some reason that didn't pop. This is an example from the input at Haysville Middle School. So what we asked the principals to do, I wanted to thank our principals for the time and effort because they put a lot of time and effort into this. I asked them to look at each classroom in their building. On the top number says how many kids that are in there currently. The bottom number shows how many they think will fit in there, physically fit in there. That's what we use to help determine numbers of kids we're going to take. So for instance, up here, if you look at the top left corner, there's 23 kids in there currently, and Mr. Craig thinks we can hold 28 in that room. So what we don't want is 30 kids in a room we think we can hold 28. So that's why principals set their own capacity. I would rather them come in and be a little bit low and we miss low versus missing high. So again, the work our principals did in setting that number that we then used moving forward is critical to the process. So they're the ones that drive that part of the decision. Because I'll be honest with you, I would put a lot more in the builders.
What's interesting about that at a secondary level is, maybe you could fit 28 in a social studies room, but your math room maybe only holds 24.
Right.
Or 25, and that becomes then really hard to try to decipher as you look through a schedule like a secondary would have.
What you get, Jen, that's a great point. What you get is what would be a good class size average
Right.
based on a map.
Each of the rooms, yeah.
And for instance, Prairie's classrooms may be completely different than
Freeman.
Rex's classrooms.
Yeah.
Because of the time they were built. You have to take that into consideration, and you can't just say every fifth grade class is gonna hold 27 kids. It doesn't work that way.
Well, and that's like the rooms at campus. They're not all.
Yeah.
They are not all cookie cutter.
Right. So questions about anything that I presented? Great.
You talked about the 1,200 units. Did you talk to the city Chamber of Commerce about the population numbers or of the city of Haysville, whether they're expanding, contracting 5 to 10% a year? Or would that help us any with this study or this activity?
When I met with them last week, Greg, I gave them, I'll get to answering your question, get there. I gave them a copy of our demographic study and asked them to look at because it lists every development that they knew was either going in through the county and permits or the city, so that they could identify the ones that they were aware of and then be able to help us know of any that weren't on there. They ask us, what do you, in fact, I'm going to the chamber, I think it's a chamber mixer in April. They asked me to come and present on this topic to the group about how are we going to accommodate all this growth. And when you look at the long-term data, the growth may come, but with the birth rates dropping, we're pretty flat. So they didn't have specific data about our cities growing 10% or 5%.
With the exact existing housing structure?
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have it. Okay.
Well, I didn't ask that question and they did not. They may have it. I didn't ask.
I don't know if there's 15 vacant apartments or 15 vacant houses, single family. If that would factor in.
But for instance, I sent you my board memo, I think it was last week or the week before, about the piece of property over here on Meridian. The only reason we found out about that is the person who's going to back up to in their backyard sent us an email saying, did you know this? And when you look at that piece over there, the city didn't know about it. When I met with Jeff Lang, those guys know what's happening in South Wichita. They didn't know about it. That just popped up, and that's looking at a zoning change. So these numbers could change tomorrow. You get somebody that comes in and buys a big piece of property out west and puts in 1,000 homes. The other thing that the city told me, I'm not going to make a number up, but basically on 79th Street by where you are, Greg, that construction that's happening out there is a new water line, as I understand it. It's supposed to work towards the east to be able to supply a bunch of houses out in that part of Haysville that is scheduled to grow. And I don't remember the exact number Will gave me, but it was large number of houses that they were looking at for development or through sales to the west, east of you along 79th Street, as I understood it, about to the railroad tracks, but that's my understanding.
Well, it's all speculation. I mean, in any development, but right now the farmers bought it. They're farming it.
Yeah.
Right next to me, we'll see. I mean, it looks like a bombed out, all the ponds that they dug and so on and so forth. But they're putting in fiber optics, they're putting in drainage. There's several things going on. So depends upon which. There's even a landscaping guy who's putting in areas. So there's several things, all rumors until they become fact. So we'll see.
It's job hard.
And when I met Georgie, had just gotten a new one that they hadn't even presented to the city when I was over them that day, and said we'll get you that information as soon as we can. But so the thing about it is there's always new stuff popping up, and I think as long as we conservatively use a 0.5 birth rate, that gives, in case we're a little bit higher.
Well, you stated a few minutes ago, about $320,000. I mean, the house is out by me. Let's just wait and see financing, land and all that. It may be 3 years, maybe 10 years.
Right.
And in 10 years, I won't be here and you won't be here. That's a joke. That's a joke. Hey, next question. Next question.
Right on.
Yeah.
Does,
Drop that bomb and move right on.
does the KDSE, do they have to approve our open enrollment plan? What you presented, or do like the SO 366 or whatever? I mean, do they have to approve? I mean, individually, school district?
So part of the new bill that's being considered is annually the district has to send to KSDE how many open seats they have, how many they filled. And that has to be done on an annual basis. So yes,
Okay.
that is coming.
Third question, last one, I hope. Have we studied, or is it relevant to study the impact? We've talked about 23 to 27 students per class. Is it relevant to include our infrastructure like food service, parking, custodial, even special ed, extra staff for playgrounds, busing? Does that factor into our study, or we already can handle these new numbers that you just presented?
Good question. 2 years ago, when we had this enrollment, if this all comes in, we had no issues other than busing, which you have every year anyway, just hiring drivers. But since we've increased that pay, Justin will tell you his applicant pool is high and he is comfortable with where he is driver wise. So it's made an impact there. Food service, we'll make that happen. We do every year. It's always going to be a struggle to get pairs. That's the reality. That could be drop 300 kids if we could struggle to get pairs. That's just the reality of it. Jillian and Craig and the directors are working on a plan to address that they're going to bring you next month. Where they've been working to change the salary schedule for our classified staff. They've spent a lot of time on it. And the exciting thing is that's all input from our employees. So she'll bring that, and Craig will bring that next month, so you'll see that. But yes, all those things are a factor. Computers, you think about if you were to get 1,000 kids, right now, we couldn't accommodate that with computers. We get 236 kids, yeah, we can accommodate that. That's why I think you want to be conservative your first year. I think we are. We get half of that, 130 kids, 15 kids, we easily can accommodate that. Again, based on a drop of 235 this year. That would get us back to last year's enrollment. Yes, Drew.
Do you expect this process to remain consistent long enough to build trend lines so we can better know what to expect?
Well, my initial thought is that depends on the legislature. And your guess is as good as mine there. You get a change in, people that are up there that they may do away with it, they may completely change it in a different direction.
Right.
So I'm comfortable doing is looking at next year right now, and then we'll get a good idea. I think we'll get a good idea on percentage of what we open. But I personally don't think you're going to see it this year. Next year, I think you're going to see it in 2 to 3 years.
Right.
When it becomes the norm. And all of a sudden, I didn't make the football team at Derby, so I might be able to go play football at Clearwater or wherever, make the team. So I'm going to move and do that. Those are all factors that are going to come into play.
Well, first, thank you guys and all of the building principals for putting this together, because I know that was a lot of heavy lifting on their end. My second is, have we had any further guidance or information given on students that come in via acceptance or lottery that are on an IEP with special transport?
Good question. Excellent question. We spoke with our attorney last week. He advised us. I'm not prepared tonight to share with you. I will in April.
Okay.
What he has said, because I talked to him and I have some knowledge, but I don't have the knowledge Angie has. So Angie and I are going to sit down with him, and she's going to ask some questions that I wouldn't ask to make sure we're not missing anything. But his advice to me was positive for us.
Okay.
What I felt was positive. Angie, I shared with Angie. Would you see it the same way if we could do what he advised?
Yes.
Okay.
But
So
in regards
information
to
coming.
transportation, that
That's
is,
a different
Okay.
cat because
Right. Well, and that's why it falls outside of the enrollment category, but if it's in an IEP,
yep, we do it.
yeah.
We will have to provide it. And that's, tell me if I'm off on this one, Angie, but the last I saw was the receiving district. So if I attend in Wichita and I have an IEP and my IEP states I need special transportation, we have a meeting, we determine the child needs special transportation, I would assume has to happen. then we would have to provide transportation for that student.
Okay.
That's the current understanding of the law.
Current understanding.
So theoretically, it could be 25 miles away in
Huh?
Valley Center and we'd have to provide
Yes.
transportation.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that it has to be a bus.
Right.
Well, right, but we have
Has
to
to
do some
Yes.
problem solving.
Yes, you're right.
Okay,
And we do temporarily, or not temporarily, currently, we do the same thing for our McKinney-Vento students. Who, if you have a McKinney, which are your homeless students,
right.
if you have a McKinney-Vento student who is our current student is misplaced through whatever factor and placed with a relative, let's say in El Dorado. You have to have a meeting, and if it's determined that it's in the best interest of that student to stay here, you have to provide transportation. So that is currently the federal law.
Yeah.
And SPED's the same. I mean, it's when you look at SPED, if the IEP states they require transportation, then as we understand the law right now, this again could change, but as we understand it today, it's the receiving district has to provide transportation. Yes.
Is there any numbers in here? Doesn't specify special ed or non-special ed. It's just education.
That's just total students right now.
Okay.
We have not, the question we have for our attorney, and this is, I'm not prepared to give you an answer to that, but I'll let you know what the question we posed them is. You cannot find SPED teachers for structured learning, your high need class. You just can't find them. So can you limit the number of students in a program, just like you do every other class? And base that on what Angie says is an appropriate student teacher ratio. So if in the structured learning program, say at Rex, just throw that as an answer. We have a teacher over there and Angie says, I think we can have 10 kids in that classroom with 3 or 4 pairs and we can support those kids. Then we would set that capacity at 10. If you have 8 kids in the program, we believe you would, if you drew a kid who was in that program, you would take them up to 10 students. But once you get to 10, we believe, and again, I'm not prepared to make a recommendation tonight, but talking with our attorney, that's non-discriminatory in practice if you're doing the same thing for a regular ed and
It's
sped.
based on the ratio.
So again, not prepared tonight to share that, but we will bring it to you in April, once we have a firm decision from our attorney. Problem is when you call KSDE or Angie Special Ed Consortium, nobody will give you an answer. They'll say, talk to your legal counsel. It's going to be a matter, whatever you do, it's going to be a matter of somebody feels like they've been discriminated against, you're going to get sued, it's going to go through the courts. And
So again, there will be negotiation, arbitration, whatever. So Valley Center, they want their child to go to Rex and we say, no, we don't have capacity there, but we'll bring them from Valley Center and move them to Nelson.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's the other piece, Greg. I'm glad you brought that up. Parents that enter through the lottery do not choose their school.
Right.
We place them
Where there's room.
where there's room. So if I could show you this real quick. This is what each building principal did. And you can see right here, for instance, they already have 23 kids projected. We're not taking any there in that class. But what is that? That's first grade. But if I go to Nelson, they have 0. If I go to Oakville, they can take 9. So the first 9 that apply are going to Oakville. And then you just fill backwards from there. That's how we'll do it once we get. The other thing is there is a piece of software through Power School we've been exploring and we may bring to you next month that has an out-of-district enrollment component to it and a lottery component to it. That would all be done through the program, and it's not terribly expensive to add it to our current suite of software. And Misty and David and I sat in and listened to a presentation. Excuse me, and it's something that we're very interested in doing with this. If you are a growing district, you set your numbers low and you don't take anybody. But when you're a declining district, which 1 year is not a trend, but if you look at our last 5 to 6 years, there has been a trend like this of enrollment. It's my belief that you have to take students, and why do you do that? That's what raises are based on. New monies is how you give raises. And so you want those new students or an increase in your base. You get an increase in the base and you lose funding or lose students. You hope to remain, that you don't lose somebody, that you remain even or flat. That's what you hope
Search
for.
the state of Kansas for Power School.
Exactly.
And there's still no requirement for parents to notify us if the child is coming or not.
I don't
We
know.
have to notify them like they've been accepted
Oh,
into
yes,
the
yeah.
district.
So if you get
but-
an offer from Derby and Goddard and Mays and Andover and.
Yeah, what's
Haysville,
my deadline in telling each school, yes, I'm coming, no, I'm not
I
coming?
believe there is.
Yeah, right. So then we're left up in the air. We could have taken 2 students, but we didn't know we could have taken 2 students
What our
because
attorney,
parents didn't tell us.
what our attorney has advised is this. He said what I would do is set another date, like say August 10th. And let's say you go through the process and you still have 2 positions, 2 spots in second grade open. And you have 2 kids that want in second grade that you got denied, you go back and you offer.
So it's whoever enrolls first,
Yeah.
officially enrolls.
Yeah. So basically, he's advised you might maybe want to have a window or a date you revisit it. And if you didn't hit that number.
Okay.
And you think about your sped question,
Yeah.
if we said 10 and we thought we had 10, but all of a sudden we have 8. And this student over here is in that program, all of a sudden you can take that student.
Yeah,
So again, it's a non-discriminatory practice.
right.
Which
Which is,
I really agree with the pre-enrollment idea. There's other districts that do that.
and we're looking at
Is that,
April, May. Communicate with Dee, and we were talking about this in our meeting on Monday, how do we get this out? And
Right.
so we anticipate that coming in, doing some type of pre-enrollment. It's not gonna be to the same level you do when you enroll your kids, pay all your fees.
Right.
Just tell us if you're coming back or not.
right,
That way we can some way plan. So you don't have to do anything tonight. Next month, what will happen is I'll bring you an update on Courtney's question, which is a good one, about caps. Also, we will bring you the number. It may change. We may lose 5 more teachers and have to hire 5 more, whatever, you just don't know. But next month, we will bring you a final number that we would like to move forward with, that we know on May 1st, this is how many kids we're gonna offer next year. And then as the timeline showed you, June 1, you post it. And then you sit back and wait until June 30th, and then from July 1 to July 15th is when you notify those who don't yet in. And if they did, we'll figure out some way to notify them, and we'll bring a report to you once we're done with this back about what it looks like, once we're done with it. Probably August, September, we'll come back and say, here's what we projected, here's what we got. And that way you guys are up to date. Any other questions before we wrap up tonight?
Which one of these 4 administrators will be the focus for open enrollment, or the SME, subject matter expert?
Well, right now they all are.
I
We've been working through it together.
No, I know, I just thinking is that once it starts rolling,
Yeah.
do you want us, you have one of them that will be,
I would say
will be
right now-
taking notes and lessons learned.
They're all.
Got it.
Right now, send your questions to me. But when we get going right now, for instance, if somebody calls, Jillian or Jen are gonna take the question. If it's a regular, Angie's gonna take it, if it's a question. I mean, I'm talking before we do this, if somebody calls in and has an enrollment question, they're gonna talk to Debbie. Debbie's gonna say, you need to talk to Jen, you need to talk to Jillian, or you need to talk to Angie. And then they funnel them through there, and if
So you don't have a favorite, is what you're saying?
they all get to share the love. So,
Break time.
all right, any other
Just like
questions?
this.
Good questions. Any other good questions?
Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your work on this, and we'll get
Hey, they
you brought up
did.
to date next April or next month.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. It's annoying.
This is too much.
And then the other question is, which items I'll take them.
Annoying, never annoying, right? Over next year.
So as of July 1,
I would say, yeah.
you gotta look at that as like a new money thing. And like, sky's the limit. But
But we also don't want them to agree.
Where, which things?
That way different.
I wasn't on my
Right.
grammar.
I think.
right now, I'm just getting ready to print all of these.
Good answer to your question.
Then I will start looking them up.
And I sent them stuff, so I can manipulate these if you want.
Yeah.
69.
You shot things through.
Thank you very much.
25 seconds.
Merry Christmas.
Is Kelly coming at all? Okay.
I don't want.
Okay. I'm just kidding. Okay. I think I gave you.
Oh, you're shaking already?
Seven.
They didn't buy themselves.
Yeah.
Well, they give you these questions about it. So
Okay.
I'm trying to put in there so you should sit down. Take it.
Okay.
All right, it is 7 PM. Let's call this meeting to order. Welcome to the School Board of Education meeting, our monthly meeting for the month of March. Gonna start with the flag salute that I think is going to be our Nelson friends. Come on in, Nelson friends. Parents, come file in, take photos.
We'll just line up right across here. The flags like we talked about, right over there in the front. What's that? No, you just turn, you just, when you're ready, you turn and start the pledge.
We're all ready. Okay, ready? Ready, right hand up in the middle there. Ready? I. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
My name is Alex Stobart. I'm Evan Stobart. Allie. Susie. Whitney. Adeline. And those are my fourth graders. Jeez. Natalie. Kara. And those are the fifth. Thank you very much.
Oh, and I'm Amanda Elder. I'm the music teacher at Nelson.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Hold on, parents, any parents want pictures before we dismiss them? Anybody? Good work. Done.
Right here. Here, leave it that way.
KT?
Kara, leave it that way. Kara.
Good job.
Great job.
Have a great day.
Nice job, nice job. Super proud of you guys. Very proud of you guys. Nice job. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very nice.
Good time.
All right, Nelson Elementary, great job. Thank you guys for being here tonight. All right, next up is president's announcements, and I only have one. But this weekend, campus hosted the regional barbecue contest with 7 schools and 8 parent teams competing. We were able to eat some awesome barbecue and judge the dishes. I believe our campus team, if you remember Notorious PIG, they took the top honors, but all the school teams that participated will get to participate in the state barbecue contest, which is going to be held in Branson, Missouri. But just as a reminder, April 6th, I think you have to have your orders in by April 2nd. April 6th, you can pick up $10. We'll get you a pulled pork sandwich, barbecue sauce, barbecue beans, and mac and cheese. And it's all through a fundraiser. So if you're interested in that, campus can probably get you the information and you can order some great barbecue, but don't sleep on it because it really was excellent. So if they sell out, that's why. I think that's the only announcement that I have.
Couple of things here real quick. One, I too want to thank Miss Ward and the team at campus for a great Saturday. Got to judge some barbecue up there and did ribs, chicken, and taco meat, and it was outstanding. Several that could have been served in a restaurant and made a lot of money. So a lot of kids involved, that this is their niche in school, like we talked about when we presented, or when it was presented by Miss Ward, and we're excited to offer this and finding their purpose and why in school. And a lot of kids were involved. And the cool thing too on the judges is they had more judges than they could use, which you don't ever have more volunteers than you need. And so everybody didn't sit through the whole thing. Everybody got to pick 2 or 3 to be able to judge, and that was good. So they were very pleased with the amount of support that they had from the community. And as a board, want to thank you for your support of them. They shined Saturday. So next, I'm going to turn it over to Jen Reed, who's going to recognize our next group.
You want to stand right here?
Yeah.
All right, that'd be great. Come on in, Coach. You got to get here too. It is my pleasure to recognize the campus girls bowling team. Just to give you a little bit of history, they've been a pretty dominant force to be reckoned with for the past 10 years, with a record of 112 wins and 8 losses. They've also taken 7 state titles, and the 3 years out of the 10 that they didn't get a state title, they came in second. This year was no different. Starting the year off at Bishop Carroll, they earned 3rd place and then were undefeated ever since. That includes defeating everybody in the Great Plains Invitational, the Campus Invitational. They took top honors in league. They took regionals in Liberal, and they are your current 6A state bowling champions. Like to introduce yourselves and tell us what grade you are, because 3 of them are going to stay next year and keep this going.
I'm Riley Emerson. I'm a sophomore. I'm Caitlin Clow. I'm a sophomore. I'm Maybelline and I'm a freshman. I'm Ella Rutter and I'm a freshman. I'm Allie Gentry. I'm a senior. I'm Mackenzie Craig and I'm a senior.
And Coach?
I am Kenny Fulkerson. I've been fortunate enough to lead the entire decade of dominance these kids have had. With that being said, what she's not telling you, we could have had 2 more state championships in the last 10 years real easy. We just made a bad adjustment. I made a bad call. We gave up 2 by less than 20 pins. So, like I said, the girls has been good for a long time and should be good again next year. Although this is my last year doing it. I decided 4 years ago I would return from my real job. Now I'm retired. It's been fun. It's been a great ride. It really has.
We are missing senior Mackenzie Goupel. She had couldn't be here tonight, so she was a senior on the team. And I forgot to mention that they won this year by 163 pins, so it wasn't even really close.
Wow.
Yep. Girls, we look forward to seeing this next year.
Congratulations. Thanks, Coach. Next, we'll turn it over to Ms. Macias, who will recognize our 26 Wonderful recipients.
Absolutely. We have 3 recipients tonight to recognize, all from Rex Elementary. So if I could have Laura Rogers, Caitlin Zimmerman, and Megan Sweat come up to the front, please. As you know, Laura Rogers is the principal at Rex Elementary. Caitlin is the assistant principal, and Megan has nominated each of these candidates. So we'll have them stand up here for us too. Our first nominee tonight is Will Nugent. Will, would you come on up? Pitched on the spot. Will was hired to be a one-on-one para at Rex Elementary.
Will, we can't see you. Come on.
I'll move over a little bit. He has been a team player working with this challenging situation. Will has been able to adapt to all directions that he has been given to help with the situation. His shoes and his position would be very difficult to fill. Will's perseverance and heart for assuring he is doing everything he can to keep students safe is admirable and deserves recognition. Thank you, Will. I'll step over as a team and take a picture. Yep. While they're taking a picture, I'm going to call up Georgia O'Brien. Georgia is the counselor at Rex Elementary. She is a walking, talking, doing team player and has the biggest heart for the students at Rex Elementary. She will do anything in her power to help the students, staff, and administrators to ensure every child has their basic needs met in and outside of school. For example, we had a parent who could not transport their child to an appointment at the healthcare clinic, and Georgia immediately volunteered to help. The district will miss her greatly as she does move to another district next year. Congratulations. And as Georgia takes a picture, I'd like to call up Jessica Terry. Jessica is a 3rd grade teacher at Rex Elementary this year. She has met and exceeded a very challenging situation this year while at Rex Elementary. She has put aside her fear and anxiety to do whatever she can to help her classroom be a safe environment for her students, responding to parents and students' fears and anxieties about the classroom environment at times. Jessica doesn't need this award to know she has done something that a lot of educators couldn't accomplish, but I do hope she will be able to be distinguished with this award to know that her peers think the world of her and her drive for her students, regardless of the challenges she faces. Thank you, Jessica. And I want to give a shout out to Megan. Thank you for recognizing these 3 staff members. They've done an incredible job this year.
Thank you and congratulations, and appreciate all each one of you do for our students and staff. Next, I just want to let the board know, as required by policy, that the campus Stuco will be using meeting at campus on Wednesday, April 3rd for the Class of the Year Olympics. Just as part of the policy, we need to let you know when somebody's doing activities on Wednesday night, and they will be hosting some Class of the Year activities. So with that, that's all that I have.
Sounds like fun. So I guess speaking of campus, Jeanette, gonna come fill us in with all the other information you've got?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I will be speaking about Cody Olympics a little bit more in depth. This year it is on April 3rd at 5:30, but kids can start showing up at an auditorium at 5 p.m. This year we have 8 events. So we have our swim relay, our dive and retrieve. Everyone who has signed up, we've made sure that they can swim. Don't worry. We have knockout or chariot race. We have simple ones like red light, green light. We have our shoe relay, and then we have a bouncy ball relay. And we're all very excited because the class with the most points at the end gets April 12th off, which is the day before prom. Just so everyone knows, juniors are winning. So I hope that continues. Yeah.
That's what I heard.
So we're really excited about that. So
And then the next thing I have today is our Gym 5K. It is on April 20th. Our beneficiary is Alana Whitney. She is a Spanish teacher at Haysville West Middle School, and it takes place at Riggs Park. I believe it begins at 9:30, and we have started talking about a shirt design, and that form should start coming out soon. So even if you're not wanting to participate, anything can help, buying a shirt or just spreading the news. We really appreciate that. And then the last thing I have today is our Stuco elections. So our executive board actually opens forms next Tuesday, and we have a 10-day period, and it's from April 2nd to April 12th. So that's when we sign the forms, and we have kids sign social media contracts, make sure that they represent our school well, teacher recommendation forms, and then we have our campaigning week. And then the class board will take place on April 16th, and is another 10-day period. So from April 16th to April 26th. So we're very excited about that. That is all I have for you guys tonight. Is there any questions?
I have a question on class elections. Do they do that at the middle school level when they're 8th graders going into freshman year?
Yes, they do. They will be taking place April 16th as well.
Okay.
Their process is a little bit different because since they're in middle school, they're allowed to put up posters. I know campus we're not. We do more, we have TVs in the commons, so we usually make a slideshow, and then we play the slideshow during lunch. So that's how we do our campaign.
And then I was supposed to pass on a compliment to you from my wife, who watches board meetings, and she said, please tell Jeanette what a great job she does and how calm she is and confident and good in her presenting. So I just want to pass on that people notice.
Oh,
So
okay. Thank you so
keep up the
much.
great work.
Thank you.
Or any questions for Jeanette before she goes? Thank you.
Have a
great evening.
Thank you.
All right, board, we're on to 1.6, new and good. Does anybody have some new and good to share tonight? I did. I ate lots of good barbecue. I already shared it, so.
This snow and ice is over. Great news.
Rough, was it?
It was a little rough.
All right, 1.7 is gonna be approve or amend the agenda, and the one thing I do have is we do need to amend the agenda tonight, so I'm gonna start just by making a motion. The motion will be to remove 4.0 off the agenda for tonight. We had a process issue. We're gonna host a Zoom meeting to go over the treasurer's report on Thursday at noon. You'll see a Zoom meeting come to your email for that. Should be a very quick meeting just to go over the treasurer's report. So I would like to amend the agenda to remove 4.0 for this evening.
If I could clarify on that before you second, there's no issues. It's just we've had a change in personnel. And with that change in personnel, they were then unable to complete one step. And so that step has to be done tomorrow. And once it's done, it'll take 5 minutes to be your typical treasurer's report. There's nothing unusual. It's just personnel change, and that's resulted in missing one step, and we'll have that done tomorrow and Thursday at noon. If you're available, we just need 4 people, and we will present the treasurer's report as a typical, it'll be via Zoom for about 5 minutes.
So, you know.
So all bills are paid.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's no issues. It's just we've had a change in personnel, and for that reason, we weren't able to, is it reconcile? Is that correct?
Reconcile. Yeah, everything is balancing, everything's working out, all the bills are paid and all of that. It just, there's a process of receiving all of the payments and all of that it just takes time. And with our change, we just weren't able to get there. So.
I'm looking for a second.
I second that
Thank you, Mr.
motion.
Bennett. All in favor? 6-0. Sorry, Kelly's gone. All right, district patron and personnel. 2.1, do we have anybody on the agenda to speak? All right. 2.2, are there any visitors that'd like to speak to the board tonight? Okay. 3.0 is consent agenda. Go ahead, Jillian, you have something?
Yes, I at this time would like to introduce Shane Seeley, if he could come up. Shane Seeley is,
Wrong one.
I'm sorry, wrong
There he
Shane.
goes.
Like, wait, Shane Paulus
Come on.
A lot of Craig's and a lot of Shane's in my life now. I apologize. Shane Paulus is on your consent agenda to be recognized as the new principal we've chosen for Rex Elementary School. So he's here to meet you all tonight. Shane, is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you for this
My name is
opportunity.
Shane Paulus. Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm excited to join the Rex family in this district. So.
We're excited to have you.
Welcome.
Welcome, Shane. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, do you want to talk just briefly about the process we went through, and Jen and
Absolutely.
Tasha were on the interview committee representing your board?
Absolutely. So we had a panel of staff members, district leaders, elementary principals that would be colleagues to this position, as well as 2 board members. And we interviewed a total of 4 candidates, if I remember correctly. Five candidates. And it's been a few weeks. Interviewed a total of 5 candidates and walked through a process to gain consensus on who they felt the best candidate would be. And Shane came up as our glowing candidate. So we're very excited to have him. Did I miss anything on that, Mr.
Jen or
Hirsch?
Tasha, anything you need to add from the board's perspective?
We used humor a lot, so we just wanted to kick it off. So you feel comfortable. We just wanna make sure you feel comfortable. It's fine.
You really like to laugh.
He did
Remember
say he
that?
liked to laugh. I
Yeah,
did
he
remember
did.
that.
So
You're right. It was
hit the
perfect.
nail on the head.
He's in the right district.
That's right.
Right. No, you're in good company.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Board, do you have any questions about consent agenda tonight?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
Okay, got a motion by Jeremy, a second by Tasha. Any additional questions? All in favor? 6-0. All right, we'll skip over 4.0 for tonight. 5.0, focus on learning. Yes,
Let me
sir.
go back on the
Yeah.
KSB.
Uh-huh.
How do they fit in, or I don't want to say are they helping or hurting us as far as all these laws
Mhm.
that are going on in the state house? I mean, are they, I know they're an advocate, but how much input or how much sway do they have in some of these issues?
Well, I think it depends on the issue, Greg. I will tell you that there is Leah Filter, who came and spoke at our community retreat last year. She is their legislative advocate, and Shannon Kimball, who is a board member out of Lawrence, as I recall, are the 2 that do the advocacy on behalf of KSB. They provide us with almost daily insight into what's occurring. They are strong advocates for public education, obviously, and testify on many bills, and will tell you where they're neutral on bills or they're in favor of or opposed to. They're very strong advocates for public education. Obviously, that's their role, and they do and have provided, like I said, testimony in this whole session and do annually. So they also provide, as you know, all of your policies. Once the laws change, they will then update the policies that they send to us, that we then will have you adopt. So anything changes with open enrollment, for instance, they'll amend policy that we've already adopted to reflect those legal changes that took place. So they have a variety of roles. I don't know if you have Twitter. Do you use Twitter? Or, okay. There's a couple of good follows there that are in the legislature every day, tweeting out, providing, I think they do it through through Facebook as well, but providing that information. They also send weekly updates on the legislature and what bills are in play and how it impacts public education and impacts school districts across the state.
Well, it was kind of a loaded question because over my years of service, we have had good support and what I would call poor support. So I know that it's not a whole lot of money, but I'm just curious of their good deeds or service. And I should have asked that probably before, but okay, thank you.
Board, any other questions? 5.0 reports. This is Arneson. Talking about the USD261 Booster Club update.
Yes, I'm Chrissy Arneson. I am a member of Booster Club. Move that out of my way. So I have a little bit to go over with you guys. So the first sheet is the Booster Club sponsorship packages. So we're taking this over from ASA, is that correct? And so we're coming up with different packages than what we had offered in the past. So we've penciled in, nothing is 100% final. We're still trying to work on, if you were renewing, that there is a discount there. So we're still trying to iron out those numbers. Our goal is to have everything ready and out to go by May 1st. So we will be meaning to iron out all of the finals. We're getting quotes and everything else back, so that way we can make sure we have everything covered. Any questions on that page?
This particular page.
I'm gonna go to that later.
Okay.
Sorry. The next page is gonna be the payment package options. So this is where instead of, because the packages range in price, we're wanting to offer heavier packages, so that way they don't have to pay it all up front. We do want to cover our cost of signage ahead of time. We're still trying to work out a way to be able to do that since we got the quotes back. So we're breaking down basic down payments, and then if they want to do monthly installments over a 9-month period. We also understand that they might not come in right at the beginning of the school year. They may come in later, so we'll make those adjustments. Again, we're still working out the price points of these and the breakdown, because we want to make sure that we're not purchasing signage and maybe somebody has to drop out and then we're stuck with that cost. So trying to work out exactly how we want to work through that. So, and again, we'll have all this finalized by May 1st. Any questions on that second page? Third page, to me, this is meat and potatoes. So this is the talking points. So we have met with the ADs of both HMS and HW. There was a meeting on December 7th. They are both on board for being part of our packages for this. So a portion of our proceeds of these new sponsorship packages will go to HM and or HW, depending on who they choose. The exact amount or percentage will be determined as we break all of this out. Each middle school, in order for us to cover their cost, they will be invoicing us for items that they need. If we need to cover refs, something of that sort, they will send us an invoice of the cost ahead of time or after the fact, and we will reimburse them for that. We will do that until their funds run out. So we'll have buckets for regular Booster Club, HMS, and HW, and we'll track all of that. Again, we're offering monthly payments with a down payment or a lump sum payment if sponsors choose to do that. Again, down payments are hoping to cover the cost of signage, or we'll have to purchase those over time. As the renewal, we will only repurchase signs that maybe are damaged or stuff like that, or if there's a change, that way we can help keep that renewal cost down. Everything, again, hoping to go out May 1st. We will do that email, mail, Facebook post. We do have the list of all the sponsors that ASA had, so we can use those as well to get that pushed out. We're hoping to work and we're needing to get a sponsorship contract done as being part of our brochure. And with that, we need to basically define out what's going to happen if they don't complete their complete their full payment for the sponsorship levels. Some other items that we're looking at trying to add in the short term is a live stream sponsor, to where they have a watermark that's in the background, so that way you can still watch the game, but they're still getting that sponsorship showing. Also looking at doing a sponsor and athlete of the week, so that way that's a smaller sponsorship. We could have multiple companies do that, or even if a parent or a family wants to do that, they can do that. And then we have like big ticket items. So like we need hurdles. So trying to work out how to split that cost with a sponsorship to have their names on hurdles or other big ticket items that we need. So that way we can get that cost covered. And it's not 100% having to come out of Booster Club, that we can get that sponsorship and help have the community be part of that. Other items is that we're going to start working to where we're having tables at conferences at all 3 schools. So HMS, HW, as well as campus. So that way we can help get ourselves out there, work the word, getting our volunteers, as well as getting companies to be involved in the community. We're looking at getting a backdrop to have kids take pictures on, because it's the craze. And then also working to get that involvement with our Facebook page, where they can post pictures and maybe have a small giveaway out, so that way we have that traction. And then also we're planning additional community events. So we've started the works on doing a steak feed that will partnership with the FCCLA. as well as the clubs and sports to get the students involved. Where portions of those tickets will go to the event that those children or kids are involved in. And then also this year we are doing a shadowing event of taking over the car show at Party Neo 60, and then that will be ours fully of next year in 2025. Questions, concerns, comments?
I know you are on Facebook. What's the website or what's your contact information if someone wants to contact you?
I don't have that.
What did you say? I didn't.
I don't have that.
The Campus Booster Club at gmail.com.
And what would you say your name was again?
I'm Christy Arneson.
Arneson. Okay.
I am the only parent member that is not an officer of Booster Club. So my plug is anyone listening, anyone here, please get involved with your student school. PTO at all levels need help. Parents need to get involved with what's going on with their kids' schools. In order for us to grow this even more, we need to have the involvement, not only just with the community, but with parents, and even the kids can help too. So trying to group and get that across the board, not just with campus, but please, if you have elementary school, middle school, get involved with your PTOs because we all need help. And even if you can't make it to the meetings, even if you can just get on a volunteer list of, I can cover, you know, the Booster Club merchandise on this football meeting or this basketball game, and just, we're not asking for a lot of time, but if we could just have a little bit, and that will go a long way if we can have 20 parents do that. So.
Great plug.
Thanks. I know just volunteer wise, the community needs it across the board. So anyways, so back to this, any questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you for taking over this piece. I think it will be great for our community and our facilities to have your touch as a Booster Club on it. So thank you.
Right. I was like, at least this way, more will go back to the schools than what was happening before. So, and I mean, there's been a lot of thought process and planning to make this happen, but we've got it all ironed out and pretty sure that it's going to go off and be great. So.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks.
Before moving on to 6.0 action items, 6.1 is the 24-25 district calendar proposal. Any questions on the calendar? Was proposed last month.
Make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 district calendar proposed.
Second. There is a motion by Jeremy, a second by Courtney to approve the 24-25 district calendar proposal. Option 2. Option 2, yes. Any questions for it? All in favor? 6-0. 6.2 graduation credits update. Mr. Seeley, any additional?
Are you the Shane we need to talk to?
Yeah, I don't know. Shane Seeley, I'm either the principal at Campus High School or Rex Elementary. Not quite sure yet.
Some days you might want to trade with them. You don't know.
Wait, maybe.
That'd be a fun thing.
I don't have any additional information other than what was presented last time, but if you have questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Board members, any questions? Graduation credit to 25. No.
Well, again, it's beginning of the class of 2028, right?
No, the 25 would be for the class of 2025.
I just pulled up the graduation requirements for class of 28, which, okay. Go ahead.
I got a couple of different ones.
But the
Right,
class
right.
of 28 does have the additional state requirements of the financial literacy class, the STEM elective, and the public speaking, which we already have. Not the other two, but we do already have public speaking.
Okay.
So this will just be a change to 25.
Starting for 25, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the graduation credit updates as they were presented.
Second. Barb. Motion by Courtney, second by Barb to approve the graduation credit update as presented. Any questions, board? All right, all in favor? 6-0, thank you.
Thanks for your work on that, Mr. Sealy. I know it's put a lot of time in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, anything else?
I'm not leaving.
Not leaving. 6.3, guess who's back? Back again. Request for a CTE.
Request for an additional CTE court specialist, and we have created the job description. I believe that's in your packet.
Yes.
That was requested last time. And this would be also in conjunction with growing the CTE pathway, but the class of 2028 requirements relying heavily on career and tech ed as part of their requirements to graduate.
Or do you have any questions on this action item? I'll make a motion to approve the request for the career and tech ed specialist.
I second.
Motion by Jennifer, a second by Tasha to approve 6.3 as presented. All in favor? 6-0. Thank you very much for your work on that. 7.0, where first reads Jillian handbooks.
Yes, so you have all of the handbooks in your packet, and I do apologize that the classified employee handbook and the substitute handbook, we made a lot of changes, so we just gave you that entire handbook. I do want to point out on your table in front of you, you have one additional change on page 24. It's very, very top. Again, purple, I know it's hard to distinguish that as purple. We did add that to the section of student teaching leave of absence, just stating that priority to candidates chosen would be given to those high need area positions such as special education, which are very hard to fill. That was the only change from what you had. Do you guys have any questions on those? And we're not asking for approval this month. You still have some time to look at them, but any questions I can answer? Yeah, okay.
Jillian, thinking about our next meeting, is there a date you would need questions by, just so the board can have some guidance on if something pops up and they want to know, is it thinking about our next meeting, how much leeway would you need to?
Sure, if you could give me, if you could ask questions at least a week prior to our meeting, that way if I need to reach out to principals or directors, it gives me time to get that information. That would be great.
I didn't see anything was of legal nature that we need to talk to any lawyers at all. It's pretty straightforward, so.
Most of it's pretty, yeah.
Okay.
Is it 4:15?
I think it's the, Debbie, you know what the next meeting is? I don't know.
I think it's
The 15th, I thought it was.
Okay, so by 4/8 board, all questions need to be in by 4/8.
The 15th is the third Monday.
It is the third Monday, yeah.
And that is the meeting date, the 15th.
So 4/8, just wanted to give you that date so you know. All right, any additional questions on a plethora of handbooks?
Happy reading.
Yeah. There's something to do the next few weeks. Mr. PJ, 7.2, temporary summer help.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. As you guys have in your board packet, we've asked for some temporary summer help like we have for years in the past. We're requesting 6 temporary summer people to do mowing, 5 for painting, which is an increase of 2 from previous years. Also requesting 4 temporary, just general maintenance positions to help. And then back to our 3 summer cleaning positions. A little bit of history on the 4 extra positions I've asked for is everybody knows we have some bad carpet in the district. At Haysville Middle School, where everybody walks all the time, I think with 4 additional help, we can replace 5,600 square feet of carpet in-house. My calculations are if we contracted that out, let me go back a little bit. At HMS, re-glue a lot of the carpet back down at Campus High School in the big carpeted hallway and kind of redo some carpet in 2 small rooms at Nelson Elementary. If we contract that out, it costs us $85,400. That does not include carpet. That's on the capital outlay list next, but it would cost us $85,400. If we added 4 summer workers, it cost us $14,886. So there'd be a savings of $70,534. So we also have some big moving projects coming up with Mr. Seeley has some wings, basically completely changing, flopping parts of his building. There's also a possible fencing project. I've been talking with Mr. Bloomer, Ms. King Reed from Nelson about possibly flopping some things around down there too. So these people would help greatly.
So. Have any questions?
Is there a employees or people that want to come and work, or have you even advertised it?
I hope so. We haven't advertised yet.
Okay,
You
okay.
guys have to approve it first.
I know we're
But
having
we've been out
trouble.
trying to recruit and
All I know is that we're having trouble getting bus drivers, substitute teachers. I just curious whether
well, like, you know, we haven't filled our mowing crew for the last
Right,
5 years
right.
either, but
we'll try.
it's worth a shot.
Okay, go ahead.
So again, this is a first read board. Like always, you know, we're in prime hiring season, so I don't know if the board wants to take extra time to review this. This is obviously something we do every year where we have to hire some extra summer help to get us through.
Have you seen any challenges hiring?
No, and especially because it's gonna save us money on the carpet part of that. I mean, that's money that one way or the other, we gotta get that problem fixed, and if we can do it with summer help, absolutely.
Is there any reason not to do this now, approve this now, since, I mean, is there any benefit to doing it now or negativity for doing it now? Like, why wait if we don't need to?
I'll tell you, if my opinion is that the sooner we post it, the better it's off for us, because we compete with everybody else who pays $15-17 an hour when we pay $11.63 an hour for temporary summer help. So the sooner we get it out there, you know, hopefully we have more applicants, but
Well, the
so we're
historic,
working on that problem through our classified pay committee, but
answer your question, the historical reason used to be to give the public time to comment on something controversial or whatever. That's why we always insisted on
A
two
first
readings.
read.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
first and a second reading. But I believe it or not, I concur, agree with you. I go ahead and make a motion to approve it this evening. If we can get a second.
Second.
Or do you have any questions about this? It is something that we do every summer, but if you have any additional questions that would like to talk about it, or if anybody feels that they're not ready to make a vote and want to table it as a first read, that would be fine as well. Good, okay. All right, there is a motion on the table from Mr. Finster and a second from Mr. Bennett for approval of temporary summer help. All in favor, board? 6-0. Thank you, BJ.
Thank you. Just for anybody watching, what's the minimum age somebody has to be to get hired for any of these positions?
they have to be 18 by the time they start, which we talked about they can start the Tuesday after Memorial Day. So as long as they're 18 by that day.
What are you guys do 4 days?
We do 4 10-hour days. So it's Monday through Thursday, 6 to 4:30. And if they take a vacation, it's no big deal. You know, people ask, oh, they can't take a vacation. Yeah, we allow everybody to take a vacation. It's not a big deal. And once if they get on, we usually hire them back every year unless they are they don't show back up the first time.
That's vacation without pay.
Yeah, they're without
Okay.
pay. They don't get holiday pay either. So
So
that is correct.
Time off.
without, so Tuesday after Labor Day, after Memorial Day, and that runs until,
The last 10-hour day in July, which I think this is like July 29th. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere right around there.
thank you, that'll give the public some idea if they're interested. July 29th is Monday,
Okay, so it'll be the Friday before that.
the 26th.
Thank you.
July 26th, okay. Next would be 7.3, which is capital outlay. Still with
Perfect,
Mr.
I'll stay
BJ.
here.
And Craig.
All right, so capital outlay, when it comes to capital outlay, I send an email out and talk to leadership to our administrators about capital outlay. What do they think they need in a building? What are their wants? What are their needs? So what they did is they all filled out a spreadsheet and sent it back to me. I then took that spreadsheet and kind of color coded it as if it's a bond issue, you know, when people want an auditorium or second, third gym, things like that. I sat down with Mr. Ryan after that. We kind of went through what we think we could afford. What is a building level? What is a district level? And then what was the bond? So I have some examples here. And if it was red, like this one has red. So red, they have acquired some of theirs already, either maybe through their own building level or things we've agreed to purchase. Like here's campus. And some of the lists are very lengthy. Some of them are, here's another one, this one page. So what we did then is went back and color coded it. Green would be a bond issue. Blue's kind of building level. And then I think it was yellow is district level. We did that. We sat down, Mr. Ryan and I did, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. Came up with our list of things we think we can possibly afford. 2 of them on the right of way are 72 passenger buses. We have 2 of them that can't drive a bus after it's transport students on a bus after it's 25 years old. We have 2 of them that'll drop off this year. So that's one of the main ones you see on here. Also, HMS carpet. I'll need carpet to put down for these people this summer, hopefully. And then that'll cover more carpet than what I need, because I'm hoping to get all the upstairs done at HMS. Then with the gym floors, we resurface campus gym floors, both of them every single year. We try and do that during dead week in July. Then we have some parking lot maintenance, some field maintenance, and then some possible remodeling at Grand Lane, Hempville, and this building. What questions you guys have for me?
See, most of the projected costs are a little bit higher than previous cost. Is that overestimating to give us some sort of cushion?
It's just a cushion, just with costs here recently going up, we have to make sure that we have enough there to cover any excess that's on there. The one at the 72 passenger bus, the 2 of them, we're giving that a big bump just because those costs have gone up considerably. I don't know if it'll be 340,000, but that should be enough to cover what we need to and make sure we have enough in there.
Did you go out for bids or quotes on all these items?
Yeah, I have numbers from people on every one of these.
Okay.
Actually, I have most of the stack right over there.
Debbie Coleman will verify this. We had a controversy many years ago about bus bids. Basically, we are tied to one bus company bid. Is that not correct still?
We don't have to be tied to one, but there's several reasons why we do just one. Right now, Bluebird is the only one that has a warranty repair in Wichita. Everybody else, you're going to Kansas City or Salina. Every bus piece of equipment we have to work on buses are for Bluebird buses. So if we'd switch, say Thomas built, we're sending it 2 hours away for warranty work. Then we're having to buy all their tools, computers to read those. So that's kind of why we've stuck with Bluebird.
I'm not saying change bus chassis or companies. I'm saying, can we get a bid on this same type of bus from Missouri or Texas or whatever?
No, they will not. There's no competitive bid. They will not bid against each other.
So it's collusion then, in my opinion, because they won't bid against each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if they won't bid against each other,
We can get your bid on the state contract. It'll come in higher than what Kansas Truck will bid you out, but we can get one that way. We'll build the same bus through the state bid contract through the state of Kansas. We can do one that way for Bluebird, but that's the only way you're gonna get a Bluebird.
our hands are tied. I mean, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
okay. So the controversy continues.
Unless we want to switch total, I mean, you're never gonna get apples to apples either when it comes to buses.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, you bid on carpet or flooring or lights, you can get several bids.
Absolutely.
Buses, it's one bid.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. It's still the same. Thank you.
About 170,000 per bus is kind of what you're thinking.
Yeah, because we paid 158 last year for the 2 bigs, 96,000 for the mini.
158 each.
Yeah, because I have last year's in here too.
Okay.
158, then some change.
BJ, have those arrived yet? Have we gotten those?
No, they won't be here till August. So if you want to go ahead and approve going forward with buses, we would appreciate that too, but you don't have to. It's just, it takes about 18 months. Back when I was transportation director, when things were well, we could get in about 7-8 months. Right now, it's 18 months lead time.
You're saying it's Bloomer's fault.
Sure, we can blame him.
He's not here.
I wouldn't do that, but no, it's just the
Controversy.
industry. It's like getting vehicles sometimes as well, same way.
Yeah, it's tough right now. Or do you have any questions on capital outlay? Okay,
Thank you.
the big pill to swallow. Thanks, BJ. All right, Mr. Herbert, 7.4 technology purchase.
Real
Yes.
quick, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
have any questions on capital outlay, I will not be here next month. Shoot me an email, call me, I'll answer all your questions.
Next month. Oh, you mean for next time for the. Yeah.
That's what I was like.
We all thought you were going for money, but that's.
That too, I mean.
No, you can't do that.
Not allowed. Sorry.
Up here, we're not.
Is Shane replacing you also?
He's busy. Got a lot on his plate. Okay, board, technology purchase was on purchasing the elementary laptops versus continuation of lease. Is that correct?
Correct. We have the elementary Chromebooks lease expiring. Was a 3-year lease. It's expiring at the end of this year. Actually, if you want to get technical, June 30th. And obviously we want Chromebooks for the elementary schools. So we have a lease election to choose from, and talking to administration. And we believe that because the elementary school Chromebooks do not go home, they've been assigned to students and go home, they're in really good shape. They're in carts and they're really good shape. When we were thinking about this, maybe last fall, about October, I was thinking, well, you know, fair market value, they could come in under $100. I think that's probably a fair market value. Well, they did that by a penny. So I am comfortable with the price they're going to be charging us, but we're looking to purchase 2,700 Chromebooks at the elementary school level for a total of $269,973. We did check the chip inside those Chromebooks. Google says we'll support this chip for this long. And we checked on the chip, and that's going to be supported for several more years. So we're not going to buy these and then find out a year later that we got to get rid of them. So.
Well, this is in the contract is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And is then a savings versus going in and renewing a
renewing a lease. This will provide some financial relief. After we make this payment, then those will be ours, and then we can decide on our own. Do you want to continue to use them another year? Yes. Do you want to use them the other year? Yes. And we will not have payments during those years. The lease payments were about the cost of the buyout. To give you an idea about what that looked like.
making money if we keep them 2 years.
Yeah, and like I said, we've checked on it. We should be able to keep them more if we choose to, and they last. And I think that's the direction we need to go, try to save a little money. Any questions?
Thanks for trying to save us money.
Got it.
If I may, before you put down, Mr. Herbert, I don't know if you read your minutes, but Mr. Herbert is retiring on June 30th, and I will tell you that worked with a lot of tech directors. He is by far the best I've ever worked with, and understands the needs of the classroom better than anybody. And that's why he's good, is he understands when a teacher calls, they need something and it's impacting kids. And he's very visionary and does a phenomenal job. And I just want you to know, appreciate you greatly, and thanks for what you've done, and wish you the best in the next phase of life.
Fantastic. And as long as we're editorial here, I've loved my 37 years with the school district. So happy to be here. It's been wonderful, and I couldn't think about being anywhere else.
40 sounds like a really good round number.
Yeah.
Well, the round number comes from, I spent 3 years as an IT director before I came here, plus 37. So I've been an IT director for 40 years now. So, I'm thinking, yeah, that might be a good number.
David
You'll
just,
be missed.
go ahead.
I just said you'll be missed.
Well, David just used the word wonderful. I think we ought to back up to 4.4 and give him a wonderful award.
Well, I've already got one of those. If you want to give me another one, I'll take it.
All right, board, this is an action item. So we are looking for a motion on a technology purchase. Is it an action?
It's a first reading.
I tried hard. Sorry, David, I tried.
You're fine.
All right, first reading. Thank you very much. Board,
Thank
if
you.
have any additional questions? Obviously, I don't know where we're at, but other than the questions I have.
Reach out to me if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, 8.0. Discussions and report items, 8.1, 8.2 would be future agenda items and board calendar, Debbie.
Okay.
Tri-City Day School will leave the flights late. There is a LEA VIB application for federal flow through funds for SPED. And that will be on the April consent agenda. Proclamation for teacher appreciation will be under superintendent's announcements in April. Graduation and promotion dates will be given. Haysville High School alternative scheduling will be presented to you. Open enrollment as an action item. Pre-K report card update. Algebra 1 credits for 8th graders will be a first reading. Kindergarten pilot will be a first reading. And then in May, assistant principal update. And then before or by July 1, there will be a new website presentation given.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's it.
All right, we do have an executive session on the agenda board. Do the Courtney committee just to jump in? Does anybody need a break before we jump right in?
We're doing so good.
Okay. All right,
Let's
we are
go.
going to go into executive session for negotiation matters relating to employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the body or agency. We're going to go in for 20 minutes. The board would like to include Jeff Hirsch, Jillian Macias, and Craig Ryan. That's my motion. Second, I think Jeremy beat out Courtney just by a tiny bit.
I win.
I'll get you.
All in favor.
We're gonna go now or 5-minute break?
Nobody said they needed a
Okay,
break.
okay.
All right.
Too late.
6-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Something, which is always on. That's 18 hours for tomorrow schedule and Wednesday.
Before school, after. In the middle of the day.
I have that shirt.
The other day, come in here, yours was over here.
All right, the board has returned from executive session. There was no binding action, and with that, we'll consider this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Record time. Good work.
Right?
Thank you.
Good talk, team. Thanks, guys. What happened?